These are the Commander cards most worth buying for the month of July.
I'm Mia, and I like buying foils even though they curl.
I'm BZ, and I like when Amber jumps on the board state and ruins the entire game. And we're the Nitpicking Nerds. If you want to support the Nitpicking Nerds in our board state foil curling endeavors, you can go to Patreon, give us your direct dollars. We'd appreciate it. You'll get exclusive content as a reward. Also, we have Dragon Shield, the best sleeves in the multiverse,
Good sleeves.
in the description for you to click on. Once you click there, you're going to the website itself, buying the best sleeves in the multiverse
Good sleeves.
for your own use and supporting the channel all at the same time. We're sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., and that means you get to save 5% at checkout when you use code
Nerds.
at checkout. That's again 5% code
Nerds.
checkout code
Nerds.
5%. That's savings for you. And we also love Cool Stuff. They're amazing.
This video is also sponsored by Moxfield.com, the best place to build your decks. And there's going to be an ad for Moxfield in the video. Where is it? You don't know. And if you guessed and you say you're right, you lied.
You cheated. Yes, if you are correct, you actually just cheated and you're not right at all. And happy birthday to everyone's birthday is today. This is one of our most anticipated series. It's the most worth buying for the month. The cards we think, they're down in price. They're effective. We're not talking about speculation. We're not telling you to go buy 38 copies. It's cards that are most worth buying to put into a Commander deck.
The first card that we have on this list is the Great Henge, just reprinted in the Lord of the Rings box toppers. This is down from $65. It is currently $49. It is a 7 green artifact that states that you can tap it for 2 green mana and you gain 2 life, or when creatures enter the battlefield under your control, you get a +1/+1 counter on each of them, and you get to draw a card.
It kind of just does everything. It costs X less, where X is your highest creature power. And this is just like one of the most in-demand reprints for Commander for a really long time, basically since it came out when it was 50 immediately, and then now it's creeping up to almost 70, but it's finally back down to the $49, and I'm saying keep an eye on this. It might go down further, but either way, this is one of the best green cards you can even play. So at $50, I'm just going to snap it up and think that I'm getting a good deal.
Yeah, I would buy it at 50. I would buy it at 60 even. So I would definitely buy it right now.
Next, we can hop over to another box topper from Lord of the Rings. This is Ancient Tomb, down from $80. It's literally one of the best lands in the entire format. It's only $57 right now, and whenever Ancient Tomb drops at all, I'm pretty much excited to just pick it up immediately if I need any of them, because it taps for 2 mana, deals 2 damage to you. Nobody cares about that last part. There's even lands like Urborg that can mitigate the damage dealt later in the game. It just ramps you too far ahead. It's basically like a Soul Ring in a land slot. It's just amazing. Every deck can play it. Every deck probably should play it unless you're 5 colors, and I see no issue.
It was 80 beforehand when it wasn't even foil, and I just picked it up for foil for $80. It's amazing, and it goes into every deck, so why wouldn't you play it?
Yeah, when you can pick up a foil for the price of a regular, and now it's $57 for a regular by Ember, you're rolling in extra cash.
Yeah, this is just value right here. Next on this list is Shinka. It's $5 currently and down from $14. It's a legendary land that can either tap for red, or you can tap a red mana and target legendary creature gets first strike until end of turn.
Basically, it's a mountain with more words on it. If you are a 1 or 2 color red deck and if you have enough mountains in your deck to be able to reasonably fetch them or play them, this card just takes the place of a mountain. It is literally an untapped red source that just has more words. Your commander is legendary. That's already 1 creature. Maybe your Legends deck and this gets even more value. But $5 is the lowest this has really ever been, so I'm really excited.
As we're in combat-based metas, it's so important to be able to edge out that little bit of damage sometimes, and especially giving it first strike makes all the difference.
Yeah, if your commander has Death Touch too, a lot of black-red commanders can have Death Touch, and you just completely stop any way to interact with your commander in combat. And it doesn't really matter if you activate this. If you activate this 1 in 10 games, it's a mountain that is activated 1 in 10 games. It's better than a mountain. Mountains can't do that ever. You don't ever need that many mountains in your deck if you're taking the mountain out for this. And I'm just these are the cards that I live for because it's just grinding out that extra percentage points in your land base. And now it's only $5 instead of 14, 15, whatever it used to be.
There's no cost to replacing a mountain with this land. It's only value.
You're only getting money out of it. Next is Sword of Hearth and Home, down to $7 from $14. We all know what this does. It's 3 to play, 2 to equip, pro green, pro white, and when it hits, you go find a land and exile a creature, and then you return them both to the battlefield. So you get a flicker and you get ramp, and it is a little slow, but it's also non-green. So there's our decks clamoring for this card.
I think that a lot of the swords in the cycle aren't as playable as you'd think in Commander, just because it's the slowness of 3 mana to play and then 2 mana to equip. But I think this is one of the most playable ones.
I think so. It's in the top 5 for sure. It can really snowball and kind of run away with the game. You want to be a specific deck. You want to be able to blink the creature with it. Otherwise, I'm not really excited about 5 mana worse Sword of the Animist.
Yeah. It goes infinite with Aurelia, right?
It does, because if you hit with another creature that has sword on it, you can keep blinking Aurelia, and then she'll say, oh, this is the first time I attacked every time.
Yeah, infinite combat steps.
That's pretty sweet. So there's like other kind of cool things you can do with the card. And as far as Swords of X and Y, we're not getting them for this cheap. This might be the cheapest one you can buy, period.
Yeah, I just saw like a fancy version for like $20, and I thought that was worth it, but getting just base at $7, that's an amazing value. Next, we have Unfinity Foil Borderless Shocklands. The non-blue and non-Rakdos ones are going for between $19 and $23, and the blue and Rakdos ones are going between $23 and $33. The art on them is absolutely amazing, and they're such a good deal as they just came down from about $40. Also, your mana base is so important in Commander.
Shocklands are literally some of the best dual lands in Commander. They're fetchable, they fix your mana, they enter untapped whenever you need them to. And having foil, borderless, unique artwork that almost doesn't even feel magic-y because they're like outer spacey, for less than $35 for any given one of them, the non-blue and non-Rakdos ones less than $25, it just kind of feels like I looked at them and I went, really? I thought that was the price of normal, like, Guilds of Ravnica Shocklands. Nope.
Yeah, I actually bought them at $40 and $45 for Godless Shrine and Blood Crypt, and I thought that was a great deal just because they're so pretty and they're so playable, and now that they're even less, I might even have to pick up another one.
Yeah, this is like a really good opportunity. If you're looking for bling that does not going to set you back $100,000, these foil borderless Shocklands are sweet. I don't really know what to call them other than foil borderless Shocklands. They're not Galaxy foils.
No, the
Those
space...
are hundreds.
Yeah, space foil lands. Does that work?
Let's go Space Foil Lands. And let's go to Balagad Recovery because it's an MDFC, baby. 2 and a green or nothing for regrowth or a tapped green source. It's only $4 because it got reprinted in the Cute or Boot Precon. Cuter Boot. Yeah, the Cuter Boot Precon. It was the boot on the other side. But like, they can never find spaces to reprint MDFC, so I thought this was like super relevant. First ever reprint of Balagad Recovery. Maybe one of the only reprints we'll ever see, because these cards kind of just creep up, and then there's no precons. They can't be reprinted in precons. You can't print double-sided cards in precons, and they have to find a weird loophole where they can throw this into a secret lair that's all double-face cards. I don't know when we're going to see this again.
Balagad Recovery is my favorite MDFC. I think it's amazing. I think just the returning things from graveyard is so important, and then when you don't need that, just as a land, I mean, maybe I'm just hearing so much about MDFCs from you.
Yeah, maybe you've heard some things before, but I do enjoy me an MDFC.
Once or twice I've heard something.
Yeah, once or twice you've heard things. Like for Moxfield.com, once or twice someone's come up to me and said, you know, BZ, you really had me. I held out for a long time, but you finally convinced me to go to Moxfield, and it was the greatest decision I ever made. And I say, yes, you fool, you should have gone sooner. And then we high five, and they do a freeze frame. But if you want to get that sort of feeling, you just got to log on, create an account, and build your first deck, and you'll realize, wow, that was easy. That was scary easy.
You can build all sorts of decks on Moxfield. They have lists for Commander, Pauper, whatever you need. They even have a template for when you have you just need a list in particular, and you can create your own. That's what the Commander Cube list is made out of, and that's where I have a list where it just says cards that I need.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. You can sort by tags. You can tag the categories that you need, and just have a free-form list going and have it be super understandable for anyone who clicks on the list. And you're not going to get any of what I just said with redacted website.
Absolutely not.
No. So now that you've gone onto Moxfield and made an account, we could just go right on to Assassin's Trophy, which is $8 that Mia is going to explain for us.
Assassin's Trophy is 1 black mana and 1 green mana to say destroy target permanent an opponent controls, and its controller goes to find a basic land and put it on the battlefield. I love using this against his Field of the Dead.
Yeah, this is one of the only ways to destroy my beloved Field of the Dead or any other problematic permanent for such a cheap rate. They get a basic, but in the late game, that's not going to be super relevant. And it's nice to know that if I'm wastelanding somebody, they at least get to replace it. But yeah, nothing feels worse than having your hard to interact with permanent destroyed. It really sets you back. So if you want to destroy my Field of the Dead, and you're going to a convention that I'm going at, you should pick up Assassin's Trophy for $8.
Absolutely. Always a great deal.
It's very premium spot removal. I was low on it before, but I think it's definitely worth $8. It used to be like $15, $16, so scoop it up for $8, please.
With All Will Be One that just came out, we have gotten some amazing poison cards to add to our decks, and I have an Atraxa poison deck, so this one is really near and dear to me. It's Phyresis Outbreak. It's 2 and a black, and it says that each opponent gets a poison counter, and then each creature that opponent controls gets -1/-1 for every poison counter that opponent has.
Yeah, this card started out $5 range, and the Infect cards in general, everyone was like hopping on the bandwagon. Like, oh, I like Infect because it's good now, so I'm just going to build an Infect deck. But as time has gone on, people throw those decks away and they're done with them. But I know you, dear viewer, you were like, I really want to build an Infect deck, but I can't because everyone's jumping on the bandwagon. They forgot about Infect. They forgot it exists. All these cards are super cheap, and you can build a really solid Infect deck for like $50, like for sure.
Like your Ixal deck?
Yes, like my Ixal deck. I'm excited because that deck, I was struggling when this deck came out. I was struggling to keep it under $50. Now it's like $37, and I get to put all this money that I had to cut back into the deck, and I'm really excited. So like not just Phyresis Outbreak, which is one of the best payoffs for Infect decks, period, but now it's time for the Infect resurgence.
Absolutely.
I want to see a second wave of poison counters going to people, and they're like, I thought we were done with this. And you're like, nope, just starting.
And I'll be the lead.
Yeah, you've let us in with your venerated rot priests.
Oh, it's absolutely amazing, and that's also down to like $1 right
Yeah, that
now,
card
too.
is like actually so cheap we couldn't even talk about it, but it was 10 or 11, and now it's like 1.
Yeah, that's such a good deal.
Speaking of deals, if you're looking to wheel and deal with good old Kenny Returned King here, he's only $3. This is his first reprint. He was a buy-a-box promo exclusively, so now you can actually get him in a standard set. March of the Machine is going to be like a bulk rare price, $3. He does 5 different things. You can make people draw cards, reanimate, gain life, counters, and draw, and then give things haste and trample. And I've definitely said draw twice, but there's 100 words on it. You can play as a group hug card, but really you're just going to be selfish and take the best stuff for yourself. You're going to play Training Grounds, which also got reprinted. You're going to reduce the cost, and people are not going to want to play anymore, and they're going to concede because Kenrith is very good.
Kenrith is the best 5-color good stuff commander.
Yeah, after Golos got, I think Kenrith pretty much took over.
But yeah, no, now that he's actually down in price to only $3, it's never been a better time to pick him up.
Yeah,
Plus with the new art.
If you're looking for that 5-color good stuff commander, here you go. It's only $3 now. There's no excuse.
Yeah, now you can just test all the decks that you want with 5-color good stuff.
Yeah, go get Kenrith banned and play a 5-color good stuff soup deck.
Up next is Walking Ballista. It is a creature that is for XX that says it enters the battlefield with X/1/1 counters on it. You can remove a 1/1 counter to ping something for 1, or you can pay 4 mana to add a counter to it. This goes infinite with a few things. This is colorless, so it can slot into any deck that you want it to. And honestly, it's never been a better time to buy it.
Yeah, $12 is pretty standard for this card, but it is so efficient. It is literally probably top 5 +1/+1 counters cards in the entire format. It's like a boogeyman level of you're going to start throwing hardened scales out. You're going to start putting counters on it. It can put counters on itself if you just generate a bunch of mana with something else like Selvala, and it's going to be a giant threat. This card it ends way more games than I think it gets credit for, and $12 is quite efficient to pay for this card. I would buy multiples of this because it's a card you're going to end up needing. It's like, oh, this goes in my counters deck. Oh, but it also can go in this deck. And like, oh, maybe I have an artifact synergy deck. Well, let's put it over here for let's modular stuff.
Up next is a card that you've mentioned before. It's called Treachery. It's down from $70 and it's currently sitting at $46 or lightly played for $37. What's this card do, BZ?
Yeah, so it's 5 mana and you steal a creature. You gain control of it, but it enters and untaps 5 lands. I recently just talked about this, but I really wanted to hammer home that this card is $46. But it has peaked recently at $70, and also it is on the reserve list, which means it will never get reprinted for as long as Wizards holds true to this promise, which I would just assume is forever. So you can get a card that is kind of like a weird investment. I don't want people to spec on it. I just want you to buy one for your commander deck because this seems like a really cheap price for a 0 mana mind control that has other synergies with flickering and enchantments and just playing the game in an efficient way. This card is really strong.
I think sometimes blue has trouble with removal, so not having not just a kill spell or an exile spell, but something to steal like a creature, I think that's even better because then someone else has to use their kill spell for it.
It's just an extra layer of like removal. You can play your rapid hybrids and stuff, feel free, but I think you can almost slot this card into any deck and have it be very strong. You're talking about stealing commanders, forcing them to interact with their own creature, or else they don't get to play the game. Like, that's pretty brutal. So for those who don't know, Mia is quite the Kalia of the Vast enjoyer, and Dragon Tempest is going to be one of the best cards in that deck. It works with flyers, weirdly, but it also cares about the number of dragons you have. So obviously we have a Dragon Tribal All-Star, but it's $4. This is one of the most premium dragons cards out there, and to get it for $4 is like, yes, please.
Dragon Tempest is amazing in Kalia because it gives all of your flyers haste,
All those creature types have flying.
Yeah. So immediately just pinging in with, the Kalia attack trigger, putting an 8/8 down, turn 3 or 4, depending on how fast you can get it out. That's just so good. You need those early beats.
Yeah, you need those early beats, but then it's just like also the best win condition a Dragon deck could ask for. You don't have to attack. This is some of the reason I say that not every deck wants to attack. But a Dragon deck just has Tempest. You have to answer it, or they just get to play Magic randomly, just play random creatures from their deck and just kill you and kill all the best creatures. It is a must-kill threat.
It's also so cheap mana cost-wise.
Yeah.
It's only 1 in a red. So it'll come down very quickly, and if you don't have that early removal, it'll stay on the field.
It's just, oh man, you got to get rid of those cards. No one's ever been happy that they left Dragon Tempest in play, and I'm right.
Absolutely. I've been happy, though, when Kalia hits, of course.
Yeah, you're happy when you smack me for 1,000. Let's go to Mystic Remora, a card nobody wants in play either. It's also $4, 1 mana, blue enchantment. Whenever anyone casts a non-creature spell that's not you, you're going to draw a card because they're not going to pay 4 mana because nobody has 4 mana to pay. The only downside is it has cumulative upkeep, so you got to pay more and more mana to keep this around longer, but it's only 1 to play.
Yeah, I love this card, especially in the early game, because it makes people kind of reconsider their plays. They can't just slam the Soul Ring turn 1 and take off. They go, do I want to give a card? And, certainly there are some people who will go, it's okay, you can have the card. And you go, no, please don't.
You go, no, it's not okay, I'm going to win the game. It's like, oh, how did Mia win this game? Well, remember when she drew 12 cards off Mystic Remora because you never paid for it? I'm not saying you can pay for it, but you don't necessarily have to play into it all the time.
No, you don't have to play those baubles and, those mana crypts.
Yeah. It's just like if you don't play Magic, if your opponents aren't playing Magic, then of course you're winning. But if they're playing Magic and letting you draw 7 cards, you're definitely going to win. It's like a lose-lose. Kind of stalls the game out a little bit. Mystic Remora, undeniably strong. And I'm just saying, $4, that's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, the Dominator Remastered reprint just brought this price down so low, and I'm so happy to see it at $4.
Oh yeah, like all these cards, they're 100% worth their price. Like if you've been thinking about any of them for a Commander deck, now is a great time to buy them.
Let's get to another card I really like. It's Razaketh the Foulblood at $16. It is 5 black for an 8/8 Flample that says, if you pay 2 life and sack another creature, you can go tutor for any card in your deck and put it into your hand.
Kind of just nonsense.
Yeah. This is not a fun card to play against, but it can definitely be a win con in so many decks.
I don't know how it is in a win con. If you have a win condition in your deck, you just go find it, and then you win the game. If you need removal, you go get removal, and then you don't lose the game. Razaketh plus 2 creatures out is basically just me going to concede. You're going to go churn for your best cards at any given moment, make it so much harder for you to actually lose. If you've got to dominate board state, you can go get Teferi's Protection, and then they can't wipe you. If you're playing blue, you can get counter spells. If you're playing, other black creatures, you can start like spamming Grey Merchant of Asphodel. There's nothing you can't do with this. It is one of the 5 best reanimation targets in the entire format if you're not even trying to cast it. It also goes into Kalia.
Yeah. Kalia, it's been amazing in, but even in decks that just have little, you make little 1/1 weenies and that sort of thing, and then sack them and pay 2 life, which is nothing in Commander because we have 40 life. Free D-Toots, oh my god.
They're just handing out D-Toots?
Yeah. For 2 life and 1 buy? Yeah, I'm down for that.
I would like to buy all the D-Toots, and my opponents will concede as soon as I do 3 of them. There's just no point in playing after that.
My hand after that? Stacked.
Stacked. Absolutely stacked with toots. Mystic Remora and Razaketh, there's some card advantage in blue and black. Let's go to some green card advantage. We got Guardian Project sitting at $9, and it really says whenever you play a non-token creature, you draw a card, because they're all going to have different names. There's plenty of decks that are itching to play this card. Anything from Blink to just Elf Ball, little weenies, where you're playing all your 1-drops that just cycle into the rest of your deck. Guardian Project, obviously a standout Commander card. It's been one of the top green cards since it came out in Guilds of Ravnica of Allegiance is when it came out. And $9, I am so in.
It is one of the only non-elves in my elf deck because it's that good for 3 and a green, just drawing cards. That's absolutely insane, and it always seems to die almost as soon as I play. It never makes 1 turnaround.
Yeah, that's the threat level, baby. And also, that's the threat level of the card. It's like a Beast Whisper, but it trades creature in your creature deck for bonus synergy for stickiness. It's going to survive a lot of the board wipes that are coming around, and lets you rebuild after the board wipes. It just makes it even more backbreaking.
Not only a must kill, but a must buy.
Yes, a must buy for $9. And if you want to know what other must buys, you have to to be cognizant of, or else there'll be dire financial consequences for yourself. There's another Most Worth Buying. It's the previous month. Those stuff's still relevant right now. Check it out, and then you thank us later.
Yeah. And just remember, if you think you're playing enough removal, you aren't. You can always play one more.